Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geek Cause Podcast, episode 24.
I was glad you didn't pause and accept me to say it, because I have no idea.
Episode 24 of the most infamous and well-known podcast known to man.
I think infamous is a good term to use for us.
Yeah, like it's well-known for a bad reason.
Yeah.
Isn't that literally what like,
infamous means? Yeah.
Yes, we're the best at being the worst.
Exactly.
If you find anybody else that's worse than us, we're better than them.
Exactly.
What?
Yep.
Okay, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but listen,
I think you just
I had a long night. I had a long night. It's a tiring day. I've only had toast to eat today.
Oh God, the horror.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm not feeling 100%, but I'm gonna stick it out for you, Kyle, and for the people listening. I'm sticking it out, and I'm gonna be 100% with the ha-has and the info and the he's
and the memes.
So Kyle, please enlighten us with how your last week has been since the last episode of the podcast. What's new that we don't know about your life? Tell us quickly.
Pressure. No. My week has been the same as every other week so far. A large chunk of it just took up with working, but a bit more working.
Oh yeah,
with a dollop of working.
Wow, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, and then on Saturday we went for a few drinks.
That was Sunday, wasn't it?
Was it Sunday? Yeah, it was Sunday. I told you I'm a day behind. I thought today was Monday. I thought today was Monday, so I'm a day behind.
Sunday we went for one, like we said we were going to.
We actually did this time.
Remind me after this that we need to set up your Podbean. I love that I'm saying this. I do it every time.
Every time.
But I do it to remind myself.
Yeah.
After the podcast, we need to, because it's your turn.
It's my turn now.
It's your turn now.
I have to carry this burden, this weight.
Carry the weight of 1,000 suns.
Also known as the Podbean subscription. And Podbean, if you'd like to sponsor us.
Podbean, if you sponsor us, we will talk about Podbean on the podcast every single time and only give positive things.
Yeah.
If the sponsorship is you paying for our Podbean.
We'd take that. I'll take that.
Take that any day of the week.
Yeah.
Anything else exciting happened though? We went for one. We had a good time. We chit-chatted. We got a free shot from a
random
What was
guy.
his name? Everyone knew his name.
Yeah. I know his name as well, but I can't remember. Yeah.
Older gentleman.
Older guy.
Pissed.
Oh yeah, absolutely locked.
Yeah, he was...
It was like 9:30.
He was gone. Yeah, it was like 9:30. And by the time we got there, he was already drunk. And then he stayed, and I think he just kind of like faded away into obscurity.
Yeah, he just kind of like
he drank so much that he disappeared.
Yeah. Like Back to the Future style, just started to fade out of existence.
Because his past was filled with so many mistakes.
Yeah,
It's a good time.
a great time.
Love going to an Irish pub and having a beer too.
It's always a special experience.
Special. He threw coasters at us.
Oh yeah,
And a 1 liter bottle of pop.
but that didn't quite make it.
No, it didn't quite make it.
He didn't really.
And
he didn't really have the strength to make the distance. Got like a quarter of the way.
I was very happy it didn't, because the minute that I looked and I saw what was thrown at us next, I got very pissed. I was very angry. I was like...
Cody was ready to Hulk out, so he was.
I was like,
rip his shirt off, be like, "Grrr."
I'm very glad that didn't hit me, because the coasters were funny.
Yeah,
It hit my foot, and I was like, oh, haha, whatever.
exactly what he said.
Yes, exactly, word for word. Ha, funny joke. Ha, funny. Stinky. Uh-oh.
What's wrong with you?
You never seen that?
No, I don't want to.
Stinky. Ha, funny. See, I can't believe you've never seen that.
I'm looking at him with like bewilderment right now.
Anyways, I thought it was funny, but then when I saw that I was like, if that would have hit me, it would have been way more upsetting. So I'm very glad, because I would have had to smash the pint glass into his forehead.
But then he came and said sorry and bought us all a shot.
Yeah, that was fine.
It was just like, okay.
I didn't want it, but I felt obligated at that point.
It's like it's a rule. If someone buys you a shot, it's like you can't say no.
No, you can't.
No.
Unless you just say no.
Yeah, you can say no. It is like within the realm of
But it would have made him
possibility.
more upset, I think, and then it would have been just a worse experience for us.
I think it would have been bad for everyone.
Yeah.
Just
best not to.
Yeah.
He said we were twins.
Yeah, me and Cody were twins.
Don't look anything like It's fine. We're twins.
Yeah,
it's fine.
We're twins now.
I'm 5 years older than Kyle.
But we're twins.
Almost 6 years.
Yeah, it was like twins, but it was like 6 years in the difference. Usually it's like, oh, I was born 5 minutes earlier. And you're like, oh yeah, I was born 5 years earlier.
He was really stuck up there.
Oh yeah.
Got stuck up in
it took him a major lag and delay. Probably explains why I am the way I am.
That's why your brain has a major lag and delay.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, nothing else exciting happened?
Nothing at all. It's been very quiet. It's building towards Christmas.
Yes, ready for the
far
Christmas
off
season.
Now. Need to fix that.
I'm too lazy to switch my settings in the computer to not go Doug
Dimmadome.
Doug Dimmadome, creator of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. How do you know that? Did you watch Fairy Odd Parents?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that you guys. I didn't know you guys had good stuff over in this country to watch.
Well, it's Fairy Odd Parents. Lots of SpongeBob. Foster's Home.
For Imaginary Friends.
Yeah,
that's a good one as well.
It's a good one. Bit of Johnny Bravo.
Did you watch Johnny Bravo?
Hell yeah.
I showed Becca a Johnny Bravo thing once, and like she didn't seem to respond very well, and so I didn't know if she'd never watched it or like what was going on.
I definitely watched Johnny Bravo before. It'd be on Cartoon Network. Used to be in the evening time. They used to always show up in the evening and like early morning.
So good.
Good times. So anyways, what about you, Cody? How has your week been?
The same things that it always is, studying and going for long walks on the beach. No, I'm just kidding.
On the bog beach.
Long walks on the canal. With my wife. Gorgeous. No, I haven't done too much. I modded my 3DS. I told you this when we went out for a drink. And I modded it, and now I'm playing Bravely Default, which is a nice RPG made from some of the creators of the Final Fantasy series. Really interesting. I like it. It's fun. Got a good take on stuff.
Good take on stuff.
Yeah, good take on stuff.
Cody, 2019.
Well,
good take on stuff.
I figured I would, I did it so that way I could, get this streaming program that allows me to stream from my 3DS, so that way I wouldn't have to get an emulator.
Yeah,
if I wanted to do that,
save you a lot of hassle.
But then I found out that the way that the homebrew and stuff that's on, not the homebrew, the whatever you want to call it, the way that the mods on my 3DS is, I still have to go through some hassle to get that all set up fine.
Right.
And it'll be fine, but I'm just
too lazy.
So now I've just been I've just been playing.
It's like you weren't lazy enough not to start the process, but you're too lazy to finish it.
Well, I want to get a bigger SD card to make it easier. And I'm waiting for it to come in the mail. So, me and Becca both ordered stuff off of Wish.
Oh, yeah. Probably be here in 8 weeks.
And she got hers a week after we ordered it.
Really?
Mine was ordered at the same exact time.
It's still not here.
And it's projected that it could not even be here until, after Christmas.
That's Wish for you.
And I'm just like,
So that exact sound.
But yeah, that exact sound. Other than that, nothing exciting. I've just been looking up stuff to talk about because there's some interesting topics this week. There's some
very interesting ones.
There's some ones that really make you want to scratch your head, and I think that those are going to be probably the most interesting ones to talk about, just because the other ones are pretty par for the course. But these ones,
pretty your average topic, but there's a few in there that are a cut above the rest, let's say.
Should we just go into probably
let's start big,
the holiest of topics that we could talk about?
God damn, I am Jesus
Christ. I am Jesus Christ.
I'm not talking about the game, I'm just saying that in general.
Oh, you're Jesus. Me, okay, yeah. You're not Jesus Christ, you're Jesus.
I'm just Jesus, yeah. I'm not the second coming. My name is just Jesus. Just some guy named Jesus.
Got it. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So if anybody hasn't seen it,
where have you been? Why haven't you?
There's a Steam page created, and a trailer released for a video game called I Am Jesus Christ. And in this trailer, it's literally just a pre-rendered Jesus walking around and healing.
He's just sticking his hands out and his hands glow.
Yeah, and he has like a heart meter.
Oh
I
yeah,
guess.
it has like a health bar.
It's like a love meter of how much love he can give you, and he just like heals your wounds and like your afflictions with.
Just by waving his hands around.
It's impossible to describe this game. But I will say it ends with him on the cross.
Yeah.
Looking around, and then after that, it's like a flash of him using his powers to open up.
Yeah, it's like a post-credit stinger. It's like you get to see him opening his tomb. It's like, oh my god, he lives? Really? I never knew.
Okay, look, and then you have on the Steam page, there's images of what's going on. So like at one point, you just see him raising his hands to the sky, and then lights filling up his heart meter. He's washing someone's feet. He's breaking bread with his... Oh my god, there's a guy afflicted with a demon.
Oh my god.
Satan himself is inside someone and he's banishing
buff
him.
As hell.
Oh my god, that's a buff demon. That's a buff demon. That's almost as good as a buff dragon. Oh my god, he's actually fighting Satan himself. Oh my lord.
Game of the year.
So, if we read through the descriptions of what we got here, we have...
Read this in your best voice now.
I Am Jesus Christ is a realistic simulator game inspired by stories from the New Testament of the Bible. Get into old times and follow the same path of Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago. Game...
It's too much.
Game is covering the period from baptizing of Jesus Christ and to resurrection. Have you ever wondered to be like him? Have you ever wondered to be like him? One of the most privileged and powerful people in the world? Check if you can perform all famous miracles from the Bible like Jesus Christ. It is a simulation game, and you can try to save the world as he did. Are you ready to fight with Satan in the desert? Exorcising demons? And curing sick people? Or calm the storm in the sea? Oh my god, there's more.
There's so much.
Oh, I got a headache from laughing. Pray like him to get your Holy Spirit's power and help people around you. Fight with evil, make miracles, resurrect dead, feel and act like him. If you a game lover, why not get to know his past, his challenges, his sufferings, and his power?
Exclamation mark.
Reach the final stage of resurrection and show the world that you are alive. Alright, Kyle, you take over with the key features of the game.
I didn't know these key features were a thing. I got took off guard by these. So, key features. Open world. Special skills. Realistic fight with Satan. Over 30 miracles like healing people, walking on water, calming storm, feeding people, baptizing and getting superpower of Holy Spirit, praying and increasing of Holy Spirit, crucifixion and resurrection.
That's a key feature. His key feature is getting crucified and resurrecting.
And much more. It's an open world. I didn't know it was an open world.
Listen.
Oh my god, it's an open world where a key feature has been crucified. Can I, like, that happen multiple times?
So I just
is it like a Telltale game that if I mess up, I'll get crucified? And I just keep, like, resurrecting?
Trying again, you have less
every time I die, I have to fight Satan to come back.
Less of a power meter or something every time you die.
Like Dark Souls.
The hardcore mode is if you die once, you die forever,
like
and you never come back, and then the whole world is just destroyed for the rest of time.
Oh my god.
Alright. I have a hard time believing that this is a real game.
I really hope it is.
But, like, I'm very curious as to what's going on here and what you could even do with this game. I know that, like, this is us just laughing at not understanding what's going on, but, like, I mean, can you blame... This is the thing, is like...
In the video when he uses his power, it kind of looks like when the Doctor regenerates in Doctor Who.
Yeah, no, it's true. So, like, and the thing is it's made by the creator of it is called Simulam or something like that, which is that's just the name of them. Like, I can't see actually what else he's made, but it's being published by the people that do a bunch of really good simulation games that have stuff such as House Flipper, which is like a really good like house flipping game. Yeah. I enjoy it. And what else we have here? Like Cooking Simulator. It's like a really realistic cooking simulator. Car Mechanic Simulator. Like stuff that has like really interesting like kind of ways that you simulate doing things.
Those simulation games that are actually good.
And then like Thief Simulator VR is like, you know, published by the same people. The one that we had talked about. I don't know if we talked about it, we just looked at it and we're like, oh shit, this game looks awesome. Yeah. But it's like they publish these simulation games, and now there's someone that, and they're gonna publish.
Is there like system requirements for it?
They're gonna, there is. So you need the minimum is a Windows 10 system with an Intel Core i3 2100 or an AMD Phenom 2, 4 gigs of RAM, and then a GTX 550 Ti, DirectX version 9, storage 2 gigs of space minimum. That's it.
Wow.
That's gonna be a real intense game.
The recommended is 4 gigs.
4 gigs of hard drive space. That's gonna be like that's literally like a 30-minute game.
Yeah. It's like I've downloaded like videos that are larger than that.
I don't know. It seems like this isn't a realistic thing, or maybe it is.
I hope it is. If it is, totally getting it.
I mean, let's just say this: if this game comes out, we play it together. If it comes out soon, we play this together on a stream.
Yeah.
And we upload it.
Yeah. All right. Without a doubt.
The thing is, like, this. I know that this is probably offensive to some people.
Someone somewhere, yeah. But like, it's an open world I Am Jesus Christ game where you have over 30 miracles to perform, and where a key feature is crucifixion.
I mean, if anything, you can look at this as a way to get the story of Jesus out there. So don't complain.
But I'm unsure if Jesus had like a fist fight with a super buff devil, though.
He didn't even say there's a fist fight. I don't.
You probably hold your hands up, and it's like whoa.
That's it, and you just have a health bar and
he's like, Rrr. And you do that like 4 or 5 times. Or there's like
no actual fighting.
Block.
How do you lose? How do you lose the game?
Yeah, it'd be weird if like you lost to the devil.
Not even that.
Wins.
The devil, I get that. How do you lose healing somebody's afflictions? You just walk by it. You just walk by them instead of healing them. You're just
I don't see you. Like Jedi.
Did you just do a Jedi mind trick? Jesus does Jedi mind tricks? Oh my god. Alright, can we please move on from one Steam game to another one that's infinitely better?
I'm not sure if better is the word to use. I feel like the lack of Jesus Christ in this one is
okay, subjectively it's better.
Okay, yes, I suppose.
Okay. Without Jesus, it makes it harder, but if you guys are not aware, Black Mesa has finally came out with its complete beta. And if you don't know what Black Mesa is
the corporation from Half-Life.
Well, yes. Yep. Yes, it is. But what it is this was originally a source mod that they had made where they were taking all of the original Half-Life and they were transporting it with a mod to like the source engine and coming out with like basically an updated version of Half-Life to like bring it to more the 21st century. And I think it started getting worked on in 2009.
Really?
Is when they were working on the mod.
Wow.
And like it took I think like 5 or 6 years of the mod being worked on or whatever to finally come out with a mostly finished game, because it was all worked on just by people with no funding. They were just working on their spare time. They did all this stuff. Longer, it was about 7 years. And then a few years back, they, like maybe 4 years ago, I think what it was is they actually got funding by some people, and I don't know if it was Valve or what, but they got funding, and to actually not just make a mod from it, to actually make this into like a full-fledged game. I'm assuming that uses some assets from the source engine, but it's not like a fully sourced game anymore.
Oh, so it's like they've made like new stuff.
It's the game, but just like updated as if it was made in today's date, right?
Right.
And so it's been in beta for like forever, and they still they had about the same amount of that was constructed as in the mod portion, but in terms of how much they were able to complete, this went from like a complete mod in the like 8 years that it was being worked on, and they like got to, you know, most of the, like they got like a decent part of the game done, like about a little over half. I think it was like 75%. From then, once they were like given actual funding and like put on Steam and had like an actual goal to achieve and stuff like that, and had people be able to work on it more, in less than like 4 years, they went from a completely, it's like they're built on like its own engine now, and it's got a complete beta out. So it's like, it's crazy how much like a whole, like actually being funded and having the ability to work on something.
How it speeds up the process so much.
So,
I have a quick question though. Can I wash someone's feet?
You can't, I don't think you can. Last time I played. So it's not as, intriguing as I Am Jesus Christ, but... So basically, it's a fan recreation of original Half-Life, and what this says is that with the complete beta coming out, that we're probably going to see the full release of this game, like, out of beta, probably, I would say, within the next year.
Oh, not too bad.
And I played the mod of it, I believe. Like the mod version of it, and it was really well done. Like, they did really well done. And, like, looking at this, it looks even more amazing. Like, I want to play this so bad. And if you want to play this, guys, you can go on Steam. It's €18 if you're in the EU, and it's probably like $20 US. So it's not very expensive. You get a full-fledged game at I think it's like at least 10 hours. So like it's the same length as Half-Life. And there's small like little issues that people talk about, but overall it's all like
because it's still like
better. You know what I mean?
It's still technically beta, so it's gonna be issues.
But overall, it's what you'd expect out of a game, like taking Half-Life and just making it updated.
Giving it like a new coat of polish, And
making it what it, I guess, like what it would have looked like had they made it nowadays. So yeah, there's lots of good things. They've improved on the difficulty of it, so they made the performance a lot better for it. A lot less ways to break stuff. So it's all cool. It looks really good. It's got that atmosphere of Half-Life. Talking about, I thought that was an interesting topic as we were talking about Half-Life Alyx and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you want to play through the series, I would play through this game. I would just play through the beta even. They've got from start to finish, all of it is done in public beta. So go play it, give it a try, enjoy it, and then play Half-Life 2, Episode 1, Half-Life 2, Episode 2, and then
jump into
Half-Life Alyx
when it comes out.
And you'll be able to enjoy it and get the whole story. I think I might do a run through Black Mesa, actually. I think I might do a run because it's an enjoyable game, it's a nice fun romp, and it has crazy story going on, and I think it's fully realized to what Half-Life wanted to be. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye on my stream on Twitch, as well as Mix.
That was good plug in there. It's very good.
Yeah, you
like
like that?
I like that.
Yeah.
So, speaking of things that have been newly released to Steam, good old Master Chief Collection dropped on PC for the first time ever. So it's the first time a Halo game has been on PC, yeah?
In years.
Since like the very beginning.
Since like the first Halo, yeah. So what it is the Halo, the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, which is Halo...
The biggest,
Combat Evolved 2, 3, I think 4 is in there, and now Halo Reach as well.
And it's $40 on Steam to get the collection, but you can also get Xbox Game Pass, and it's
on there.
It comes with that, which is awesome. I wish I still had my Game Pass subscription, but I didn't want to spend more money. and literally it ended right as this came out.
Oh.
But yeah, it's been a long time since Halo's been on the PC and you've been able to enjoy it from... I think it was like Halo Combat Evolved was the only one that was on there.
I'm pretty sure it was C was the only one, yeah.
Yeah, C. And, the Master Chief Collection is from 2014, so it's not new.
Oh, God, no.
But...
They did update it to add Halo Reach.
Exactly. And so, Halo was not a PC game for the longest time.
Yeah.
And definitely not on Steam. But now it's on Steam, and it's just doing gangbusters.
It's like their top-selling game at the moment.
They did have Combat Evolved and Halo 2. I think it was a while after.
It was a good while after.
They did have Halo. They did have Halo 2.
Yeah,
but like that was canceled when
Windows Live
kind of shut down. With it being on Steam, though, we're seeing that it's the top-selling game just sitting on Steam, and there's people are all fucking about it. They love it.
It's so good to see, of like something that's been away from PC for so long now, returning in like glorious, slightly updated graphics that they weren't HD, as well as Halo Reach been added to the collection for everyone else. It's just it's like a union of everyone. It's
getting more people into it again, and it's gonna revitalize the series, because this is the thing is like we've talked about this before, is having these exclusives are like fine and dandy, but like imagine how much more money you're gonna make when everybody can play it and everyone's able to go buy it.
And with this, it makes me think that Halo Infinite's probably gonna be launch on PC as well.
Dual release maybe, or at least a
timed exclusive.
Timed exclusive. But I mean, it's just something to look at. I've seen so many people talk about it, like how happy they've been that it's on PC and they're playing it now. And they've
the amount of people on my feed that I've seen popping up that are playing it and stuff like that. It's like, oh.
I mean, like, hey, if it brings more life into it, it brings more life into it. I'm all about it. I really did enjoy the first Halo, and I played a bit of Halo 2 and a bit of Halo 3. I don't think Halo is like my exact game, but I definitely would like. When it was on PC, I remember playing. There's like this demo version that you got, so it was basically it was the game itself, but it was one map. What is it? Warsong Gulch? No, that's fucking
not even.
That's World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
it's Blood
Gulch.
Blood Gulch. Blood Gulch, is that what it is? Blood Gulch?
The valley.
Yeah, the valley.
Too based on either.
Yeah. Blood Gulch. And it would be like, it was like that, and you had just the people that could play on that, and that was the only map that you could play. And it was just like, you could play this for free if you didn't buy the game. And I used to play that all the time. I used to play it so much, and I was like, oh yeah, it's great. Met a lot of good people on there. We did a lot of dumb things with like the fucking warthogs and stuff like that, make them fly around and do stupid shit. So I don't know. I definitely would play this, I think, more on the PC, just because I'm not a very big console gamer, especially when it comes to first-person shooters. I used to be okay, and now I just suck when it comes to a shooting game with a controller. Yeah. I just can't do it. My fingers like refuse to move properly anymore when it comes to that sort of stuff, because I'm just so used to using a mouse and keyboard. So used to it.
Yeah. It's cool to see, though. It makes me happy, because I love Halo so much. It's like I have so many happy memories of it. Like
happy, yeah. Yelling at your TV when you die.
Because... Oh no, happy. Like coming home from school and playing like the campaign to Halo 2 and 3 with my mates, like split screen. Just like sitting up like, literally all night, just eating crap, just playing Halo. It's like good times, really good times.
Now you can relive it.
I can relive it all.
I mean, like you had an Xbox, so you could do it anyways.
I could do it anyways, but it's like more so now.
Yeah, now there's more revitalization. Yeah. It's not crossplay though, is it?
I don't know. I was going to ask that. I
haven't seen anything saying that it's crossplay, so I don't think it is.
Something that's probably going to come though.
Maybe.
I could see them doing that like another couple of months. Like, oh, here you go, multiplayer crossplay.
Kind of how they have with the new multiplayer games, where it's like it tries to parry up with people that are using the same type of...
Yeah, like the way the new Call of Duty does it.
But if you don't mind, then you'll pair up with like...
Everyone.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Well, speaking about Xbox, well, Microsoft, rather, I guess now, based on Phil Spencer saying that the Project Scarlet's name doesn't have to connect to any of the previous Xbox releases.
So it could be something completely new and fresh.
So this means that we might see an end of hearing Xbox...
blank.
360, Xbox One. Like, I would assume it'd still be Xbox, since the Xbox is the name of the company.
Yeah, it's still their Xbox. The same way it'll always be PlayStation for PlayStation.
Right. But it's just... I don't know what they would call it. So
I think what he means is like the trend of it being Xbox then a number.
Yeah, Xbox
so like,
then a number.
Xbox 360, Xbox One. It's like people expect to be, Xbox 720 or Xbox 2. It's like, no, it doesn't have to. You might just be like, okay, this is supposed to be the Xbox
Scarlet.
Prime.
Yeah.
They could just call it the Scarlet, like.
So the official name of the upcoming Project Scarlet will suit the console's capabilities, according to Phil Spencer.
That kind of pokes an interest, because remember back a couple of months ago, there was talk of them releasing two consoles. Their main one and then a cheaper one would just stream games.
Right.
That'd be less intensive and wouldn't have a disk drive. Apparently that's back on the production line. That's a thing again. So possibly they could be releasing these 2 consoles, but them in Xbox and then 2 different names completely. So their cheaper, more streaming focused one would have a different name to their
Xbox Stream or something stupid, and then the other one would be like Xbox
Omega
Powerhouse.
Xbox Roundhouse Kick.
So basically, he said that the way that they're naming convention, they want it to be around what the capabilities of the machine itself is. So like if it's. He said the Xbox 360 was about the entertainment experience around the box, and the box being the center of that entertainment experience. 360 ways
all around.
Xbox One, if you remember our branding early on, was always on input, all in one. Those names were really built around the purpose of the box. I don't feel like I need to follow in their footsteps because they're self-contained. I mean, like, yeah, you can say that, whatever, but it's always been naming thing because that's what all of them have always been, except for Nintendo. Nintendo 64.
I don't even know how Nintendo comes up with the names of their consoles.
Okay, well, here you go. I'll tell you right now. We'll go through it.
Okay.
Nintendo Entertainment System. It's because it was an entertainment system.
No way.
Yeah. Super Nintendo Entertainment System. So SNES.
Better version.
It's a better version of the NES. Then you have the Nintendo 64. It was called that because it had 64 bits of memory, I think. I don't know. Definitely something related to that.
Right.
And then you have the GameCube. It's because it was a cube that played games. Okay? And then you had... Are you following me? Are you following me? Okay. Then you had the Wii. Now, the Wii was called that because we would like to play. It was for all of us, multiple Wiis.
As in like,
yes, Wii.
The family will play.
Yes, the Wii will play it. The Wii U was called that because it
was for us and you.
No, it was because you're stupid and they didn't know what else to call it, and it actually ended up hurting the system more than anything because people didn't know if it was like an add-on or if it was its own individual like gaming system.
The Switch is an obvious one.
No, the Switch is called a Switch because if you don't buy one, people in your town will line you up and beat you with Switches until you're just red and bleeding all over.
I haven't bought one yet.
Yeah, well, exactly. Before I leave, if you don't have one for this Christmas season, I have to beat you. It's according to Nintendo's law. And you listen to what Nintendo says or you die, pretty much.
And that's a fact.
Yeah. Now, if we look at, Xbox's naming conventions, we have Xbox. Okay, so it's called Xbox, right? Yeah, fine, fair enough. Xbox 360. Because it's 360, it encompasses all types of entertainment. Then you have Xbox One, because it's the one thing to do.
I don't know. What about PlayStation?
And then PlayStation was like, we got the PlayStation because it's a station where you play games on it. And then they were like, we're coming up with a new one. And everyone's like, what do you do with this one? You play games at a station with it. PlayStation 2. And they're like, what about the next one? PlayStation 3. What about the next one? PlayStation 4. You know this next one? PlayStation 5. You want to know why? Because why make it complicated? It's the fifth one of the iteration, Why complicate it? It's like when you have like these names for these computers. My laptop, Predator Helios 300. Why? I don't know what that means.
And Helios like the god of the sun.
Yes. And it's a predator because I'm a predator? No! Anyways,
heard it here first. Taking that sound clip out of context.
Naming conventions for fucking any of these things. We all know it's one thing. If it sounds cool, then it sounds like something that's marketable. That's what it will be. We all know it. Yeah. If the Xbox is really really great at creating images of dogs, they're not going to call it the Xbox dog just because that's one of its capabilities. They're going to call it the Xbox Omega, like you said, or Xbox infinitesimal disparity of the human causes. It's going to be something like really ridiculous and like that's unnecessary.
I could see them like doing like having their main one being like Xbox Alpha, and then their streaming one being like the Xbox Beta.
It sounds bad though, doesn't it?
It does sound bad.
Are you not alpha enough to get the full experience?
All the marketing.
Well, then
like
your little pussy ass can come get the beta version of the Xbox. Do you want to walk around and tell your friends that you're such a beta? Hell no.
Beta.
So you buy the Xbox Alpha only for alpha males.
And then this little Xbox sound. And
that's the Xbox sound?
Of release date. The push that it does. You know when the Xbox logo pops up?
No, it goes like...
No.
Yeah, it's like a little ball and it spins around and goes...
Not anymore, man.
Yeah, what does it do now?
It's like sleeker now. It's like a whoosh.
I'm gonna look it up.
It's like whoa. It's like a gust of air.
What is it called? Xbox
sound.
One sound? No.
No, that's just the
Xbox One startup sound.
Xbox logo sound.
Startup screen. Here you go. I told you.
It's a combo of the both. It's a whooshy boo.
It's
a windy boop.
So there's a little bit more to it, but it still goes.
In the past, it was just a woo. And then
I don't think it did that. Now I gotta look that up to see what the original.
It wasn't as windy in the past.
It wasn't original old Xbox startup. I don't think it was. Do it again. Do it again.
No, not doing it.
Do it again.
Not doing it.
Let's see. Oh yeah, it's got the like.
Yeah, it was like the.
It does the same thing, but there's
it's a lower res version of it. It's like lower quality.
It was like you saw like stuff. They made it really edgy. Do you remember how edgy they made the Xbox? Like it was only for edgy people.
So edgy. It was like all black, green. It was like, oh, this is so cool.
You see things like moving.
Play Halo on it.
It's like
and then the 360 came out. And it was just white.
Literally the worst color in the world.
Oh yeah, right. It's just like, and it couldn't be any more different. Everything was really bright and colourful then. It was less edgy. But then they came out with the Elite, which was like the hourglass shape, and that was even edgier.
It had less edges though. So was it edgier?
The hourglass one would have more edges though, because it was an hourglass.
So, just so everyone knows, there's a new Bioshock game that was announced. Developed by a new 2K studio, Cloud Chamber.
I thought 2K went under, didn't they?
No. What happened was that the studio that did Bioshock with Kevin Levine. Is it Levine or Levine?
I thought it was Levine.
It's Levine. With Kevin Slevine, fucking god, they went out. They closed down. And 2K's always been, there's like still around. They closed some studios and stuff like that they had because they were like, fuck these guys. And
pull in a good old EA on it.
There's a new studio that they created called Cloud Chamber, and they announced some games. So it's headed by Kelly Gilmore, who also worked on 2K's Firaxis games, which they did Sid Meier's Civilizations, XCOM. They did a couple other like smaller, like I think there's a first-person game in there that I can't think of off the top of my head that's kind of like almost like an RPG. Kind of like, I think. Don't quote me.
I'm gonna quote you on that.
But they haven't announced any like release date, anything, any information about the name of the game, the setting that it's going to take place.
They just kind of went
anything like that.
It's happening.
But they came out and said we're a new studio, and we're announcing that we are working on a Bioshock game, and it won't be out for another several years.
Yeah. So understanding because the studio's only starting up, like they probably even haven't started on it. Really.
Literally, they said that we're in the earlier end of our process, which means it's literally
like they're still like concept stage.
Yes, it's a concept stage, but they're near the end of what they think that they have.
Right. So it's like we almost have an idea for the game.
But they're not. They didn't say if it was going to be a direct sequel. They never said if it was going to be a reboot. They just said it's the next iteration of the Bioshock franchise.
I hope they do like they did with Infinite and just be like, we're not retconning anything, we're not rebooting anything. It's just the next game, but far away from the other ones.
Yeah,
and then here's a little like hint at the other ones here and there.
So this is what I would want to see, because everything else, like about the information, it's just about how Kevin Levine's not involved anymore, exactly. And how
for now, and
how there's not much information about it. We just want to see the same stuff that every game studio says. We want to see diversity and great creation of games, and we want to see like something that people can get a good experience. Yeah, we got all that, what I want to talk about now is about this new game releases. Now that we know that there's a Bioshock in the works, what settings do you want to see? What type of storyline? ABC. What is it that you would like to see in a Bioshock game if they're coming out with a new one?
Well, they got to continue their theme. They were underwater, and then they're in the sky. So, for location-wise, it'd have to be something along those lines as well. Something
where not a lot of people can be.
Yeah.
So this is
limited space, but broad enough that you have a lot of creative freedom with what it can do and what it could look like.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give you just I'll do mine real quick because I have like a whole key point of what I want to see.
There you go.
And this is what it's gotta have. So I don't care like what anybody says. Like I think Bioshock 2 was a decent game, and it would have been better if they would have went into a different area instead of continuing on with, because it didn't make sense, because the story of Bioshock started and ended in Rapture, and it should have been that way, because it should have. Now, if you would have had another place that was underwater or something else that tried to do it, and you found out there was like another like a
rival,
like a place that started up later in the years, or
like a prototype version of Rapture,
then fine. But to have it in the same thing and have it be on, not that the storyline of it was still good. It's just I don't think it needed to be that way.
Yeah,
and so it didn't make itself as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
And that's why I think 1, 2, and Infinite are all great games. I think Infinite gameplay could have been a little like tweaked, but at the same time, like people say, how about
the Bioshocks have always been like a bit finicky when it came to gameplay. They were never the smoothest games.
No, and like a lot of people said how Infinite's gameplay was too gunplay, like shooty, like pew pew shooty, but like
they all were.
That's how all of them were.
Yeah.
Like they were literally all like that. The only difference is I would say is there was more focus in certain aspect, like in certain time frames with the combat.
Yeah.
For Infinite, but even still, they were all like that.
Yeah, they're all the same. And maybe in like the first 2, maybe like the hacking features and stuff like that were a bit more prevalent. But then they were a thing in the first 2 that no one liked. Everyone hated the hacking mini games with the bloody pipes.
Yeah, and plus, like if you like, I think there could have been a little bit more of an RPG element added into Infinite for sure. But also at the same time, like it does. Like
having that lack of it did help tell the narrative as well, though.
Like we'll see, and a lot of people said it's because like you had to move around too much and you had to do stuff in Infinite because like all the sky rails and stuff like that. But the thing is, like I think that made it interesting. Whereas if you like. Do you guys not remember in the first 2 Bioshocks when it would just be like a turret and you just have to hide behind a wall and move, peek out, hurry up and shoot the turret, hide behind the wall, go back out, shoot, because the turret will just completely annihilate you, and stuff like that. Like those turrets and like the little like flying turrets that would come around were like super annoying. It was good for the game, but like
they were so annoying.
Don't act like it didn't have nuances like that.
Yeah.
So
and then Infinite, the whole Skyrail thing was very thematic. You're in the sky, you should have like been moving vertically.
I think there could have been more exploration in Infinite.
Yeah.
The games were always linear, but
more
I think that
storytelling.
Infinite had a good amount of environmental storytelling. The problem is it was all on a rail.
Yeah, more to like go and see that if you went and looked in this corner, you'd find out something new that you wouldn't have seen.
A little bit more of that. So like in the first Bioshock, you know, you had to look around for the next area to go, and then you could like go the wrong way, and like you'd find something else. And in Infinite, there was areas where there would be like a little bit of information, like you could listen to what is it, like a
voxophone.
Voxophone. You could listen to a voxophone or whatever like that, and you could hear like certain snippets, so you could find that stuff. But like it wasn't. You always kind of knew where to go.
Yeah.
You didn't. There was never a time when you were like, okay, do I go this way, or how do I get this way? As much as it was like, oh, I gotta go over here, pull a lever so I can go that way.
Yeah.
And like I said, it still was pretty close to the original Bioshock, but I think I understand people's gripes, but at the same time, I think it was a great game, and it definitely was like a game of the year deserving based on the story alone. So back to what I would like to see in a new Bioshock game. This is how it's gotta be. It's got to be something, like you said, inside of an area that's like its own system, like its own enclosed place where it has its own thing.
It's nowhere in like the actual real world.
It's in the world. It's in the real world, but
it's not somewhere that we actually know in real life.
Yes, it'd be like so, and then that brings me to my second key point, that it's somewhere that exists for people for a reason like it did in the... So, like, in Bioshock 1, it was a place... Like, Rapture was a place for very rich people that didn't want to have to give up their money, give up their time. They didn't like socialism, communism. They didn't
like almost like Prohibition era type, like swingers parties and the such.
Yeah, it was
like people who are into that kind of thing. Where you're like, it's rich and extravagant and just over the top.
It was all about corporations, about them having
Screw God, we're the ones that only one matters.
Yes,
we have all the money.
like we're the ones that are most important because we worked from the sweat of our brow to obtain everything that we have. Even if they didn't like it, because that was the thing behind it, was that rich people like were saying how hard they worked, that they deserved to keep the fruits of their work, but most of the people that were there were all... Because, like, I read the book. Like, I read the Bioshock book, and it was, like, that's, like, a prequel to the games. It's real fucking good. But, like, it's about, you know, like, how these people create a society of, like, hyper-capitalism without actually any of them wanting to do the work, because that's how people are in that sort of society, is when you have people that don't want to help others, don't want to... So you ended up having if something happened, like, and they went under, then you'd have the poor people who would turn to drugs. Yeah. And the drugs just happen to be stuff that would give you powers and fuck you up and stuff like that.
Gene splicing.
So the key point for me would be, it'd have to be something where it's an area that, like, you're only access to if, just like in Bioshock 1, something because, like, your monetary wealth. Yeah. Or something about, like, how you fit into a thing. Like in Infinite, it was about believing that you were, you know, super religious, like God.
It's like redemption. It's like purifying yourself.
And about the fact that you didn't want to be a part of the United States because they had ideals like ending slavery and
stopping segregation.
Stopping segregation. So that's all they wanted. They wanted to stop segregation. They wanted to
separate church and state.
They wanted to so in this world, they wanted church to very much be a part of the laws.
Yeah.
All the laws that you see everywhere are about keeping the church and state together. It's about keeping segregation there. It's about like making sure that the businesses that were up and the stuff that, like, the people that were talked about, like, certain people were held as, like, godly figures.
Yeah.
And it was for people that wanted the prophets and they wanted the stuff like that, talking about God and having that redemption arc. They very much wanted to separate from the U.S. because they thought that it was going down the wrong path. Yeah. After World War II, after the Civil War.
Yeah.
And they were like, Civil War happened, and they were like, well, you know, the South lost, so we want to separate completely, and that's why the whole place was shot up into the sky. Yeah. Because then it's its own country. Yeah, it's its own
heaven.
thing.
It was as close to God they could get.
So, like, people could go there if they had those beliefs.
Yeah.
If they were willing to believe in an integration of church and state, believe in segregation of people based on their class system and stuff like that. There's a reason, like, you know, the Vox Populi were all people that were, like, disenfranchised, treated like shit, or poorer, that didn't have money.
The minorities.
The people that were, like, the people that had to work in the factory areas and weren't, like, dealt with properly. It was like a similar sort of style to what Rapture was, but, like, had that religious aspect to it.
Yeah, it's like, whereas Rapture was more monetary and screw God, Columbia was more like, God's great, and money isn't a necessity anymore.
It's not, but it was still a big part of what the discrimination that happened there was, is that, like, if you didn't have your money, then you weren't able to give towards God, and you weren't able to be...
that means you weren't religious enough, means you didn't believe in God enough.
So it meant that you had to go work in, like, shitty conditions in the factories there that were producing these chemicals for people to do, like, their tasks. Like, lift up stuff with these tentacles so you don't have to, you know, do it with your hands and stuff like that. It was like, you had to actually work in those shitty conditions because you didn't have the money, and because you worked in those shitty conditions, you started to realize everything was driven into about, well, this is God's plan for you.
Yeah.
You didn't think smart enough, so now that's why you're not wealthy. That's why you're not doing good, because you aren't godly enough.
Yeah.
You aren't praying enough. You aren't believing enough.
Yeah. I think you've got that perfect. I think that's exactly what it needs. It needs to have that sort of narrative thread in it, where it has to have those
people separated from the mainland.
Like a separated world, like an isolated group of society. Like, you've literally just gone, like, cut a circle out of society and put it somewhere else where it's not affected by the rest of the world. So they have their own little, like, inner workings and their own dynamics, and that grows from there.
Like, imagine, I think what would be really cool is, like, I'm just thinking of, like, me throwing around ideas, and if you want to take this, 2K, like, feel free, but, you know, give me a mention, is have something where they're set aside, where there is a perfect utopia, like, it actually is created, like, a sect of, like, stuff that's a perfect utopia, and have that be a thing where everything for everyone is actually perfect, but then have the plot be that for some reason that's all getting because that's always what the stuff has been, right? It's a perfect utopia
until
but that utopia is a utopia only for the people that it benefits, right? Well, have this next one be where it's actually a perfect utopia,
where
right?
Everyone is perfect and everyone's happy.
Everything's great.
Everyone wins.
But have it be ruined by the protagonist, but not in a way that's like you do it intentionally.
Like an Infinite, you ruin their society, but it's like, it's a different kind of...
But their society was already ruined.
Yeah, it's a different kind of ruining. But in this one where you actually ruin it.
Or like...
you're the trigger that causes everything to go wrong for everyone.
Or like have it in a way where you...
pretty much have you be the bad guy.
Yeah. Like, because I mean, that's kind of how it was in Infinite, without spoiling anything. I know it's been years, but like, still, it's such a good game, I hate to spoil it for people. Yeah. But like... you technically are the bad guy, but you're the bad guy.
But you're not the bad guy. Bioshock 1, you're the bad guy. You get that revelation at the end of the game. It's like, oh, everything that happened.
Technically, yes.
Your fault, mister.
It's your fault. And so, what it is I think that you need to have something where it's like it'd be really cool to have something where there's like this utopia, and it actually is a utopia, but maybe the issue with that is either A, you come and ruin it, B, people from the outside that don't like the fact that you found a way to create a utopia try to end that about you, and that's why it's failing, and then so maybe you're in part of the utopia, and then you get to watch as your utopia is crumbling because other people don't like the fact that you found the perfect way to live.
Like, pretty much see a Bioshock game from the other perspective.
Yes. Or like, last thing is like, your utopia says, look how great of a utopia that we've actually become. So then they want to make everywhere else utopia, but no one else wants to be a part of it because they don't agree with it. And so then your utopia turns into a shitty place because you're trying to force your utopia onto people that like, well, this is actually great and everyone is happy, so you need to be part of it. And when people say, well, no, we want to find it our own way, then like the higher ups start going like, no, you're going to be a part of this utopia.
That tyrannical rule kind of comes into it then.
Yeah, or I think where a really interesting take on it would be, if you don't have something like that, have something that shows, have something be about, make it about like, something that's more controversial, but make it in a way that, like, make a like this utopia that people have, but make it with the minorities that we have in our world now.
Yeah. And
show how if they were in the same roles as, like, if they had the same power and roles and, like, so this is getting a little political here, but I'll try to keep it just, like, how everyone thinks of, like, a straight white man, like, the power they hold. Yeah. Have a utopia where that role is given to a minority.
So pretty much reverse the cliche.
But show that it's not a matter of just like yes, there is an issue with these people that are in power, but have it show that the issue is actually with humanity being in that power, in that role.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, straight white males are in power because they've been for so long and it's always been the thing, right?
Yeah.
Have it where there's a world where the case has been flipped, and the ones in power were the minorities of our world are actually the ones that were always in power, and show that the fault isn't
necessarily in the color of your skin or your orientation, but it's more so in the humanity of you.
And exactly. And so what it is it is about the color of your skin, but it's only about that, like, or your orientation, but it's about that because humans make it that way.
Yeah. It's not because it actually is that way. It's because
the thing is, I think that would be really interesting.
That'd be a very good one,
and controversial. But I think that people would look at it as people trying to say that people that are minority would do the same thing and be just as bad. And it's not what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I'm saying if
history was different, if the roles were reversed and history from the start of time was reversed, it would have went the same way.
But it would have went into a different direction. Yeah. Like saying that it's humanity and it would fit with the narrative of Bioshock where everything's the same, right?
It's always
no matter what choice you take,
it's always the same. It's
you don't actually have a choice. And I think if you
have the illusion of choice to like combat these things and try change society, when in fact it's humanity that needs to change, not the societal structure.
And so what I look at it as is, I'm as liberal as like the next person, but we all know that the problem with humanity, we have issues with who's in power now, and that needs to change. And like if that changes, we'll be better off. But we all know that at the core of it all, though, the problem with humanity is humans. Yeah. Humans are the worst part about this world.
Yeah.
And so this would be a way, if people could take their heads out of their own asses and not look at it as, oh, this is a way of just saying that minorities are just as bad or worse than, non-minorities.
Yeah, if people actually use their head and realize, no, it's a commentary on the flaws of humanity as a whole.
Showing that we do have an issue with the majority now, but that if the majority was a different majority, it would still be bad because majorities have issues.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that create the power.
Yeah.
And that what you need is to have, why you need things in place to make it so there isn't necessarily a majority. The only thing that's going to be good let's be honest, in this entire world, in real life, the only thing that's going to be good is once all the races and genders and everything mix, and you don't have that anymore. That's the only way to get rid of everything. Because
that kind of the barriers between everything
because then no one's different. So there's nothing to complain about, right?
You can't be angry at other people because the other people are literally the same as you.
Exactly. So, and that's obviously a hot take, but whatever. That's just the only thing. So
that'd be a bomb-ass Bioshock game. Like, you're the character who comes in like really unaware to the society. Maybe you are a part of said minority who's in power, and you go in, but you have the view of what we'd consider the real world.
Yeah.
And you go in and you're like, oh, what the hell? Same way in Bioshock Infinite, you go in, it's like really religious and racist, and you're the polar opposite of that.
Yes.
You go in, you're on the side of the minorities, the guys in power, and at first you're like, oh my god, this is great.
Yeah.
But then as you progress through it,
start to realize,
starts to degrade and degrade.
It starts to show, like, and the minority could be any sort of it could be anything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it has to be black, white, or like brown people
versus white people. It would probably work best if it was like an amalgamation of them all.
Yes.
So like those, like, sects of minority groups that are done hard by in the real world.
And then in that, show the same way as now how we have like people that will like the freedom fighters that will fight for the rights of those people and they're mixed race, have the same thing but have the minorities that are the majority now in that game. The majorities help the minorities along with stuff to be like, oh yeah, here here's this, we're helping you, and showing that there are people that believe no, this is went out of hand. Have it start where yes, it started off really good. There was a lot of like integration, there's a lot of like having people, but like once the majority became that majority, then they start killing off the people or like beating them or torturing, forcing them to do stuff that they had to endure. And in the way it's showing
kind of like eye for an eye kind of
yes, and
it's like, oh, you made us do this for so long, we're going to make you do that.
Yes,
and we're going to make you do that, but that doesn't make us as bad as you
because you made us deal with it for so long.
This is just
or whatever.
Karma.
And it would be a good commentary to show that like, not that I don't think that sometimes people need to suffer for their actions, but to show that if you continuously do that and continuously punish people for their actions, even when they're trying to be better or they're trying to show that they want to be a part of something better, then what you're doing is you're actually creating you're doing the human thing, which is you created the problem that you wanted to get rid of.
Exactly.
So I think it'd be really, really good if they did that, but I think that they'd be too afraid to do it.
That'd be very ballsy. I'd give them major kudos if they did.
Well, look how much flack that Infinite got for having the religious aspect of it. Do you remember like how many people the fact that you had to be baptized to progress through the game? You had people that were very anti-religious that were upset because they didn't want to do that, and then you had people that were very religious that said this is making mockery of what I believe.
Yeah, there's two other things though a new Bioshock game has to have. It has to have a secondary character / companion that I'll get overly attached to and lose by the end of the game, and then be broken for weeks afterwards.
And that one can be one that just like follows you along in voice, like how it did in the first one, or it could be one that's like Elizabeth, where she's constantly there. Either way, you have to have either something that like kind of helps lead you through the game until you realize that either A, they weren't good, or B, they were.
It has to be someone you either rely on or become really attached to.
Yes,
like you rely on. What was his name in the first Bioshock?
Atlas.
You rely on him. He's like your crutch. He's guiding you through it all.
And then you find out that he's actually the bad guy.
And then Elizabeth, it's like, you're helping her. You're saving her. So you grow attached to her. And you don't want anything bad to happen to her. And it's like, when everything happens, it's just like, oh god.
Yeah. And then you find out that it didn't matter if anything bad happened to her because
it was going to happen anyways.
She was the bad thing. She wasn't a bad guy. She was
the thing that was pretty much orchestrating it all anyways.
Because it needed to happen. Yeah. Because that's just where the fates always aligned.
And it also needs to have a bomb-ass twist about 3/4 of the way through the game.
Yes. So those are definitely all key points. The combat has got to be... Make it a first-person shooter. Yeah. Make it have interesting guns. And at this time, let's make it so we can mod the guns. Like I liked the upgrade system that was in Infinite. I thought it was cool. That was cool. But make the guns have more variation because at the end of the day, in Infinite, everyone just used the same gun. Yeah. Like it was always back to the same gun.
Why or maybe like have some sort of a better synergy between the plasmids, like the powers and the gunplay, rather than just being like shoot, 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 power, shoot, 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 power. Like you're just throwing a grenade. Instead, have them more like. One.
Have powers mix. Okay, when it comes to like the plasmids or whatever you call them, in this one, have it so they can be mix and matched.
Yeah.
Like not like you have to switch or whatever like that, because you could do that it was cool in Infinite when you could like switch out your stuff and you could like do this and they had like a little combo and you could have like a little combo, but have it so like maybe you can take the powers of them and you can make a new one based on mixing those two synergies together, and it creates like a whole new thing. That'd be cool. So you want to have a good power integration. You want to have a good gunplay with like the guns and make it so the guns are interesting, and you want to use every single one of them in any. In
not a case you just want the newest, most powerful gun as you progress through the game.
Yeah, and then the story needs to be good. We have the location, we have like the premise about it, but the writing needs to be good.
It needs to be not just political, but thematic, fitting. And a counter to how the world is, yet a commentary on said world.
Yeah, if Infinite didn't have the story in every way that it did, it would have been a mediocre game. Yeah. It would have been a game that you would have been like,
that was just a first-person shooter. Yes. There was nothing else to it.
If Bioshock 1, same thing really. Bioshock 1 had its own differences for a time because it was like fresh for its time.
Yeah, it just had a really cool atmosphere and world building, and then it had just great twists.
But if you were to do that nowadays, the same thing, it wouldn't
work.
It would be harder.
You need the two. You need that great.
So you have to have good writing,
world building, writing, as well as compellingness.
If they can just take some of these things and turn them into, what it could be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not asking for a perfect game. I'm actually glad that they didn't talk about what they're gonna have in there, because then you're gonna have to. Then you fall prey to
people going, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, or like, oh, I don't like that. Oh, I don't want that. Just make your own. This is what I think more game developers need to do. Make what you think is good and what you would want to play, and stop trying to cater to these people, because then you end up changing your
vision.
Your vision and stuff like that. And
make your game, and then if it has issues that people have issues with it, if you're going to make a sequel to it, you can take some of those into account and try fit it in where it works.
Yeah, and I hope that I hope that 2K gives this studio some time to finish, because the problem with Infinite was good, but it did lose a little bit of a direction of where it was going. If you remember, the trailers looked almost a little bit better. Yeah. Like in terms of how things played out, it'd be a little bit more choicey.
Choicey, and design-wise, it looked a lot more like Bioshock 1 and 2.
But it ended up being changed, I think, because it...
At one point, the whole story changed, didn't it? They did like a big rewrite on it.
Yes.
Like the character of Elizabeth was supposed to be completely different, and your character was completely different.
Yeah, and I think that the game still turned out great, with the changes, but I think, and because changes always happen.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like, only a few months different, there had been a trailer, and it was like actually like a gameplay trailer, and the gameplay was similar, like very similar, but it had it like a little bit better, different, and people were upset because they realized like not only was the scene that was in the trailer not in the game, but like the whole like way that it was presented was different, and like some elements were different, and I think that you have to let them take their time to stick to their guns and figure out what really works. Maybe that wouldn't have worked, and maybe that's why we got what we did. Yeah. But like, give them time to envelop what they wanted to do. You know what I mean?
And give them the chance to do what they want to do. If they pitch an idea, don't try like reel them in a different direction. If it's risky and they are going to go with something like we said, let them do it. Take the risk because it'll pay off. Because
risks, especially nowadays. If they pay off, they pay off big. Huge. Now, if they don't go well, I would say nowadays of taking a risk doesn't immediately fuck you over. It can in some situations, but for 2K that already has an established base, you're not going to lose much if you take a risk.
But if it's something creative like story wise with a game that you take a risk, it's like take a risk. It can go really, really well, or it doesn't go so well. But even if it doesn't go so well, everyone around went, we seen what you were trying to do. You were in the right direction, but you didn't do it quite right.
Right. A 6 or a 7 out of 10 for a game doesn't mean the end of end all be all anymore. Yeah. Like even though these developers do think that they still are, or these publishers rather think that means it's failure, but we see 6 and 7s out of 10 games sell millions.
Pokemon now.
Sell millions. Yeah. In millions.
Like the tank ass reviews that the new Pokemon got, and how much has that sold?
So it's a matter of it's not an end all be. I mean, look at movies. Most movies nowadays, I would say at best are a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Most movies, because there's so many movies out there, and we've already seen so much of it, and people still aren't doing enough new things. Most of them I'd say about 7 out of 10s, and look at how some of those still sell. I mean, look at a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love Marvel movies.
They just break $1 billion with ease now.
But that's what you gotta create something that's a risk that is going to kind of break the mold in certain areas.
It'll either get you a big payoff, or it's risky enough that it's going to give you respect, so when you come back and do it again, the audience for it will be bigger.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at Jedi Fallen Order.
Exactly.
All EA said was that wasn't going to happen. They're like, it's not going to pay off. It's not going to pay off. It just won't pay off. But they actually had Respawn, well-known developer, work on it. They invested the money and time into it, and guess what? It came out being really good.
Exactly.
So, on from taking risk. How do you feel about this risk, Kyle?
So, Dr. Disrespect, the well-known Twitch personality.
I just want to say I actually hate his character. I think it's so stupid.
Weird. There's a little booth where we have Turtle Beach headsets for Xbox and PlayStation, and his face is on the side of it.
No.
Yeah. His face is actually on the side of it with his bloody mustache. So yeah, Dr. Disrespect is apparently getting a TV series based on his streaming persona. So, according to an article written by The Verge, good old guy, Dr. Disrespect Beam?
Yeah, Guy Beam,
is getting a show, with the possibility of it being an animated show. So I'd say
either an animated show or it has animated parts to it, which is isn't that any show?
Yeah.
But anyways,
if it's an animated show, I think it'll try to lean something similar to BoJack Horseman and that kind of style.
There's no solid details for the show right now. Beam had told the Hollywood Reporter,
but Skybound Entertainment is the one who's working on it, and you may know Skybound because it's Robert Kirkman's production company, the guy who made The Walking Dead.
Listen, so this is what it is. This is what we do know about the show. The show is going to center on how Dr. Disrespect became the Doctor. It's going to have a backstory of the character, but no one knows if it's going to actually have the controversies surrounding him. We don't know if it's going to be taken like a serious TV show about how he's the Dr. Disrespect, or if it's going to be like a funny ha-ha.
Yeah, over the top satirical view of everything, or if it's going to be actual biopic levels of backstory.
Like we gotta remember that, you know, this is coming from a guy that, first of all, I really don't think he's that entertaining or funny. He's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
And who cheated on his wife and cried about it on stream, and then left for several months, and then and then got banned a few weeks later, like a few weeks ago, for a couple weeks because he went into a bathroom and filmed when it's against the TOS.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, the guy's a whatever. I mean, he's not him for what he is, fine. Like, let him be, like, let him do his thing, and it's fine. He's just not my cup of tea. He's got like his own little thing going on here, and he can keep going with it. But I don't know if this is necessarily going to be the best sort of TV show that people want to see, especially considering it's about it's probably going to be like an Amazon show or something, not an actual TV show.
Yeah, apparently that Jeff Bezos' is apparently one of the most likely ones to pick it up for Prime Video.
Just because Twitch is owned by Amazon, so
it makes sense.
It makes sense that it'd be on Prime Video. But, like, you know, it's whatever. I mean, I really don't know what much to say about this, because, like, what could you expect with
Yeah.
Like, what could you expect with this? What do you, like, give me an example of, like, what we'd actually be able to expect from this.
I just, like, kind of expected,
his character,
like,
doing dumb stuff, like doing
just
dumb
like,
daily stuff.
Yeah, like an overly satirical animated comedy.
Like,
that's like overly dumb and then tries to be like political and serious at times. Kind of like majority of animated shows that come out on Fox and Adult Swim.
It just, I don't know. It just sounds like, I get it. It's fine. Do your thing and try to get it out there. But I don't know who this is going to appeal to.
Yeah.
So
if it does happen, I'll probably like still watch it just out of pure curiosity.
I'll look at it and see what it's like and see if it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. But speaking of possibly been the worst thing it's ever seen, we had YouTube Rewind 2019.
So, me and you watched through this before we started the podcast.
Neither of us had watched it up until literally before we started recording.
So we could have a fresh take on what we thought. Okay, so, thoughts and opinions?
Better than last year. Yeah, that's it really. It's better than last year's.
I would say it's better than last year. It's like less memey. I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen. So I saw a lot of like criticisms on Twitter and stuff like that of people complaining about it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like it's not like it's horrible. It's definitely not horrible.
No, it's more just, it's like a top 10 list.
Yes, it's just bland.
Yeah.
But see, I also have it. See, this is the thing is, so it's basically, if you haven't seen it, it's like a top 10 list of all the stuff that's been most liked, most watched, most subscribed, whatever. And it's got nice music to it, and it flashes around, it shows cool things. It's edited pretty well, but you know, that's all it really is a top 10 sort of thing. Now, do I think that makes it bad? No, you have a lot of people complaining and saying it's terrible and doesn't look good, and that they didn't try to do enough with it to make it original. But see, those are also the same people that last year said that 2018 was terrible, and all they did was try to make it original, right? And it just was too much, too over the top with the memes and the originality that it came off as like real fucking cliche.
But then again, as last year, there was a lot of stuff in it where a lot of people went, "Who's that? Wait, what?" Where it's just they had things in it that were quote unquote popular. That 95% of the YouTube audience were like, "I have no idea what that is." Yeah, and a lot of people had an issue with that as well. But so this one, they're like, "Okay, let's just look at all the stuff that, you know, the top viewed stuff and the top liked stuff." Stuff that we know that you actually watched and like.
People have to remember, too, though, that the stuff that was on there was stuff that they probably got some statistics for that they thought rised up good and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was probably for specific regions. So when 5% of a region all super go into something really hard. Like, there's a couple things in here that were, like, Spanish or South Korean I had never heard of. Never heard of their channels or anything like that. But, like, that's fine because there's different places in the world.
It's a worldwide thing. It's not just,
you know
America and Europe.
And so I think that, you know, it's cool seeing that representation. But, like, I get that. I think the reason why 2018 was so bad is because it was cringy because it was like they tried too hard with the memes, right?
Yeah.
And then I think the reason why it's getting flack this year is because it's literally just a top 10 list and they could have done that.
But they didn't take the risk of doing anything else with that.
Some people, came up with a good idea and said that they could have just did this individually based on what you watched for your YouTube channel, like Spotify
Like Spotify does, where it just kind of goes, oh, here's the videos that you watched in the past year.
Yeah, so if you were going to do it, just do it like that.
Here's the most liked video on this channel that you're subscribed to and watch a lot.
I think what it is a big thing where there isn't they didn't come to a good middle ground between them, and if they did, it probably would have been better.
Yeah.
Like, let's hear people talk about their appearances, show the people that are big influencers.
Yeah, like, still, like, fly them out to LA where you do a big shoot and have all the fun stuff. Just make it less memey and over the top.
Stop trying to make it so cringy because you think that cringe humor is good.
Hip.
Yeah, just make it what it is. Just like have people talk. I would actually be fine if you brought each of those people on and talk about what their like most interesting thing was for the year, and then have them do like, talk about like upcoming things.
It's like, oh, here's the biggest YouTubers of 2020, and here they are talking about their biggest moments on YouTube in the past year, what they consider to be the biggest thing. And it's like, that'd be interesting.
And then you could show those big things.
If you had like all your gaming YouTubers and your animated guys and all the foreign channels, the cooking channels, and the beauty channels, all talk about what they considered their biggest moment of the year.
Yeah, get like the top 3 people. Have it be like a 10-minute thing.
Yeah.
Instead of like a 5-minute like little like flashy thing, have it be like a 10-minute thing where each person gets like a minute of like talking about what they're excited for in the future, what they thought was good this year, and maybe some things that they thought that they wasn't so good and that could have been improved with the platform or whatever. Be honest.
Like, the coolest thing that this YouTube Rewind did was that it started off with YouTube Rewind 2018 being the most disliked video on YouTube.
Yeah, they showed that
they straight up just started with it, and they were like, okay, we did something you didn't like, so let's see what you did like. And that's when they just went through and just showed the most liked things on YouTube.
That's almost one of those things that they did it too small, where it just kind of was like, haha, we're pointing fun at ourselves. Yeah. That's funny, and people will like that.
If it was actual, like, constructive criticism towards
about what they did. Yeah. But, I don't know. I didn't think it was the worst thing. Right now, it's sitting at 2.7 million likes and 6.8 million dislikes.
So not as bad as last year.
No. I really don't think it was...
Well, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't, like, criminally bad like last year's was. Last year's was offensive.
Like, last year, like, watching it...
It was painful.
It hurt. Because you felt awkward the entire time.
And there's a lot of drama, like, behind the scenes with, like, YouTubers that went out and filmed bits and then had it cut and weren't told that it was cut. Yeah. And so when they watched it, they're like, wait, where the hell's my part?
Yeah, exactly. So I just think it's okay.
Yeah.
It's like a little reel of stuff that happened, and that's just okay. Just like if I watched it on anything, it'd be okay.
Best thing about this one, though, I think it's the first YouTube Rewind in a long time that had none of the big TV YouTube channels.
Yeah.
It didn't have Last Week Tonight, it didn't have, all those different, like Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
They weren't in it. They weren't acknowledged, which is a good thing.
Because, like, no one cares on YouTube about those things. Like, you will watch those things, but you watch them because you like some of the personalities, but those are TV shows, and you doing that just exemplifies the fact that those people on TV only make their YouTube stuff or whatever
just for that extra money,
because they want the extra money because they know that TV's dying.
Yeah.
So I'd rather, like, it's whatever. Have the YouTube shows that are created on YouTube that are like that. Yeah, the YouTube
Red shows, like Cobra Kai, great show.
Yeah,
love that show.
Have that stuff be recognized.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, like I said, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad. Yeah. It wasn't the worst thing ever. So it
wasn't amazing, but it wasn't offensive.
Yeah, it definitely. I wouldn't say it was offensive. It was just. It was.
It was a thing.
It was.
It just kind of happened.
All right.
So moving on from some awkward stuff, really. YouTube Rewind's awkward in general. Something a bit more exciting and exhilarating.
And what's that?
James Bond.
Yes, James Bond 007. No time to die. So,
It's been a long time since we talked about this.
Yeah, I think we talked about it at the beginning of the podcast, like one of the first episodes.
We discussed, like, insider reports on how we think it was going to go with the possibility of a black female James Bond.
Because they had her cast as an actor, and everyone thought that they were just going to be like, she was casted, she was James Bond, and like the whole premise of it was just 007 is 007.
Yeah, that it was just going to be shoehorned into it.
Yeah.
But it seems like everything we said about it back in the day was right.
Telling the people who are, A, obviously don't understand how movies work, B, telling the people that were just being sexist or racist just because they just didn't want to see it and they thought that it was going to be some sort of secret agenda.
Yeah.
And C, all the people that just clearly aren't as smart as intelligent as us.
Clearly.
That you were wrong and we are right. It was literally what we said.
Yeah. So in the trailer we see Daniel Craig's James Bond for the last time. Which he confirmed it's the last time, actually, this time for real.
Good.
Pretty much, been out in hiding as James Bond and then have to be called back in because the bad guys are back and we need him and he's our only hope. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Classic James Bond movie, right?
But
have him be needed.
But then our black female character that everyone thought was replacing James Bond is just another 00 agent.
Now, based on what we've seen, it's not that she couldn't be the one that becomes a 007 agent.
It's that he was still 007.
But, maybe there's see, this is what I think is going to happen. I think what's going to happen is, so we see that they hate each other at first, like we said was going to happen.
Yeah.
Then they seem to be okay with each other and working together.
Then throughout the movie, she's going to probably let down her guard, but less of a stuck-up kind of person, get that more suaveness that James Bond has.
Stop trying to be the best and just be the best.
Yeah, and James Bond will probably start, realizing that he has to do this one last mission before he can disappear forever. And then by the end of the movie, they have this reconciliation where he's like, "No, you have to do this.
Yeah, I need you to do this, or I want you to. You need to take over the mantle of 007, or maybe whatever if you're 002, have that be the new moniker or whatever. But
or probably give her the 007 and probably have a scene where he's like, "Go get them, 007."
Yeah, and have it be something where it's given to her because she's already a 00 agent and he worked with her and saw it instead of it's not
instead of just been okay, this is a new 007, here you go. It's more so of a passing on of the mantle.
And this is what it is we knew it was going to be like this, and it's a simple matter of, if you find a problem with this way of doing it, then it's just because you just don't, because guess what? 007 is 007 because it's just about an agent who's a fucking badass.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Sean Bean was 006, wasn't he?
It'll be weird that it's not James Bond if you think of 007, but that's just everything else in the world where a moniker ends up passing down and ends up being a different name. Yeah. You just fucking get over it. You know what I mean? Just get over it. It'd be the people that complain all the time, even though it's what the show's about. When Doctor Who gets a new person, the show happens that way for a reason, right? It's still the Doctor, and yes, they're different.
The new one is worse, but it's not because the Doctor's now a woman. It's just because the writing has gone to shit on it.
Yeah,
I've completely different reason why the show is bad now, not because the Doctor is a different gender now.
You know what? I haven't heard anything about the new Doctor Who episodes, and I want to say it's not because of a good reason, and it's not because it's more of a bad reason, but I think it's just because now it's just another basic show.
Yeah,
is what the issue is. Now it's nothing that's
they got rid of overarching stories throughout the season. That is just story per episode now.
So because it used to be where it was a story.
Episode 1, episode 3, episode 8, episode 16. Yeah, story episodes that were this overarching story.
Yeah, and it used to be where it was, so each episode would have its own premise, but overall it would be connected and tied into a story.
It's like what Matt Smith's Doctor in his first season, at the end of every episode you'd see the crack in the wall and all these different places, and you're oh my god, what's this crack in the wall?
Or even the very first season of the reboot when you have it, so Christopher Eccleston, each episode was its own thing, but as it progressed, they retained all the information before, and they
it was they were building towards this bigger thing.
And it's small bits. The same thing with the beginning of David Tennant's Doctor, where the very first season of him being in it progressed. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was a story, but each individual episode was still its own thing. You could watch just that. Yeah. I didn't like doing that, but I did know people that would only watch individual episodes as a thing.
Yeah.
And but then it would progress, and by the time you got to the end of the season, you were progressing down a path of what's going on in the overall world. And So to now hear that it doesn't have that.
Because I think I've watched like 2 episodes of the new Doctor, and it's like those episodes themselves were like they were good episodes. They weren't bad.
No, I'm sure they weren't bad.
Then I read an interview with I think it was either the showrunner or the lead writer of the show, and they're saying that they were doing away with the overarching stories, and that they weren't doing them anymore. That they didn't work for them. You know what?
What I gotta do is I'm gonna catch up with it and watch the rest of Peter Capaldi's. And then I'm gonna. Who is it? Is it Jodie Foster? Jodie Foster?
Because there's Jodie Foster and Jodie Foster. Yeah,
I think that might be right.
It has like 4 companions.
Well, we've seen lots of companions before,
but like 4 permanent ones
at once. Okay, that's a little intense, but that's fine. I'm not that upset about that. My favorite part about Doctor Who.
Stephen Fry's in the new season.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
my favorite part about Doctor Who is the companions. Realistically,
yeah.
I love I love liking a companion or not liking the companion, because then you see how they progress. You know what I mean? Like, I fucking hated Rory, right?
Oh yeah.
But I loved McGillan. What's her first name?
Amy Karen Gillan.
Yes, that's it. Gillan. I love Karen. I loved Amy, and I liked their story for the most part, but I hated Rory as like a character. I thought he was so fucking bland. I know they did that on purpose, but I hated it. Yeah, but that's what made it work.
He was supposed to be so different from the Doctor.
And so I think having it that way is probably like, I don't know. I gotta watch it myself, and I'll watch through it all, and I'll see what happens, and I'll see my take on it, in my opinion, and then we'll go from there. Anyways, we got off topic.
We got really off topic.
James Bond, it was exactly how we said it was going to be. We're probably going to see a new 007 person there. It's not going to be a James Bond. It's going to be a different, whatever her name is.
Yeah. And even if it's not her by the end of the film, like they're throwing us a curveball, you're probably still going to see someone like Idris Elba take up the role then.
Yeah. You're going to have someone different.
The next Bond is going to be different no matter what.
And you know what? And realistically,
thank God.
Yeah, let's have something different.
Give it a bit fresh.
It's fine. Like, it's really not that big of a... Because, this is the thing, is, James Bond has just always been the same thing. Yeah. Every movie, you're watching the same thing. You're not getting something different. And I know that that's what people like, but, have a little bit of a difference to
Mix it up every now and again.
Just fucking take it.
It'll be another 5 years before we get a new Bond anyway, so it's not like it's forever.
Idris Elba as James Bond would be
so good.
So good.
But if they had to pick another white guy for James Bond, I'd probably say Henry Cavill.
Yeah, but he's doing his own thing. You know what I mean? He's doing all his other stuff right now. Stuff,
but that'd be a damn good James Bond.
Yeah, it would be. There'd be a lot of good James Bond, or
Michael Madden,
or Jane Bond.
Michael Madden, Robb Stark from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He'd be a good one. But Idris Elba's top of my list.
Yeah, he's just so handsome and so suave.
And his voice is like butter.
Yeah, so good. Anyways, whoa, we went into it. Probably gonna be a decent movie. Might check it out. I haven't watched any of the James Bonds except for the ones from the 70s or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Daniel Craig's ones actually weren't that bad. As individuals, they're eh. But when you watch them all together, it's okay. I see the overarching themes here.
So speaking about Henry Cavill, though, going on to our last topic.
Got more stuff for Witcher.
We did. We've got Henry Cavill himself introduced a little what would you call a snippet showing a character description of Geralt.
Featurette.
Featurette.
Geralt
That's such a good word
of
for
Rivia.
And he explains who he is and kind of how he is in the show and what goes on about him.
Yeah.
It gives you
it's who he is, what he is, and how he is.
It gives you a little bit more of a background for the people that maybe don't know a lot about The Witcher.
Yeah, so
or
they
want
can
more
have
info.
sort of a mind frame going into it of what to expect from the character. And they released 3 of these, actually.
Did they?
They released one for Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri. But Geralt's one was the best one.
Obviously,
just saying.
Geralt.
But how Henry Cavill talks about the character is different from all the other ones. He just seems so much more into it.
That's because he's into.
Oh, he's a huge nerd,
Witcher.
and it was in this you really tell that he's Oh yeah, I know my stuff. I knew all this before we started the show. That's what it comes across as.
That's good, though, because that means that he's going to be a really convincing actor. And I'm really looking forward to this. Like, we saw some shots of him fighting, some shots of him shirtless in a bathtub.
Yeah.
We saw...
him, like, walking through the woods. Big thing about it is that they showed some, like, behind-the-scenes stuff.
To show kind of, like...
And it's all shot on scene, on location. None of it's on a set.
I mean, there might be some pieces that
are, the towns and stuff like that obviously are built on sets.
But
like,
most of the stuff...
All the outdoorsy stuff is just, like, in a forest in the middle of Poland.
It's gonna be... I mean, like, it's gonna be good. It comes out December 20th. I'm super excited for it. I mean, I don't know. I know that... It's just a little featurette. If you want to, like, get some good character introductions and you don't know that much about The Witcher itself, but you're kind of like, oh, well, it seems like a nice fantasy thing that I want to watch. Watch these little featurettes. Watch the trailer. Maybe do a little bit of, like, a backstory look up real quick. You don't need to. I'm sure that this is going to go more than enough into it.
It's going from the books, so you don't need much of a prerequisite.
But yeah, I mean, give it a look. Watch these, check it out. It looks really good. Like it looks really well shot.
Yeah,
it looks clean.
Like production looks really good on it. It doesn't look like janky or like cheap.
No, not at all. And the acting, just of the little bits that we've gotten, looks like it's pretty well done.
It looks intriguing. Like her characters just share a look at each other, and you feel the look.
I feel the look.
You feel the look.
It's like when I look at you.
Oh.
Do you feel the look?
No.
Oh.
All I feel is like slight confusion and amazement of how you've gotten this far.
Well, Kyle, you have anything else to add to this?
I'm excited.
December 20th, Netflix.
It's 10 days from the day we're recording this.
10 days away. Also, I'm excited for the new Star Wars to come out. I just added that in.
Oh yeah, Star Wars. That's soon.
It's like, what is it? December 20? Is it December?
I actually don't know.
21st?
That's something we should probably know.
December 20th.
Right, same day.
So I get to watch Star Wars, the last one in the series, and then I can watch The Witcher when I get home.
That's gonna be a damn good day.
Oh my god, cream my jeans just thinking about it. But Kyle, I think that's it for this week's podcast episode.
It was a long one.
It was.
We talked about Bioshock for a very long time.
Because Bioshock's such a good fucking game. And if you don't agree with us, well, you're stupid.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
Wrong, 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 wrong.
But yeah, I don't have anything else to add. I think that's all we have to talk about this week for the little news. Thank you guys so much for joining us on our little gaming news, little rants about what we want to see in video games and all that good shiz.
And Jesus Christ.
Yes, and Jesus. Now, I will be offended if I don't get memes sent to me about Jesus Christ, the video game.
You want Jesus Christ memes?
I want Jesus Christ memes. That sounds terrible. I'm sorry for anyone that I'm offending with this. But...
I'll send you all the Jesus Christ memes.
It's going to be a very good game that I'm going to play, and I bet you it's going to be a 10 out of 10 game.
Oh yeah, game of the year. Whenever year it comes out.
just like we're podcast of the year.
Exactly.
So thank you guys so much for listening to us. We love you.
We appreciate you.
We will never
gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down.
I love you.
Never gonna turn around and desert you.
Goodbye.
Bye.